Through the years on the show, we've shared the stories of many different adaptive athletes and their experiences in pursuing their passions. And I got curious, how's that changed and evolved over the last 2 decades? And to answer that question, and also because he's one of my favorite people, I called climber Craig DiMartino, a leader not just in the adaptive sports community, but the greater outdoor community. After surviving a 100-foot ground fall while climbing in Rocky Mountain National Park, Craig made the difficult choice to amputate his leg after multiple attempts to repair his bones left him in debilitating and life-changing pain. He would go on to lead the first all-adaptive ascent of El Cap, compete in the early paraclimbing World Cups, and help mentor dozens and dozens of adaptive athletes through various organizations. Today, he lives and climbs in Puerto Rico, where he works with the veteran community there. I'm Fitz Cahall, and you're listening to a preview of Dirtbag Diaries Plus. I feel like I just want to start with the fact that when we've talked or you've texted recently, it's like, I feel like you're trolling me from Puerto Rico, just being like, look how good my life is.
That's not true.
Where are you and what are you doing in Puerto Rico? I'm
You're
totally
like, why
curious.
are you there? So I'm in Dorado, Puerto Rico, which is kind of on the north shore of the island. And Cindy and I, we started coming down here like 4.5 years ago to teach veterans with disabilities how to rock climb, through a VA grant that this nonprofit that we work with, does every year. So I work with veterans all over the country and civilians all over the country who have some kind of physical disability, and, get them use climbing as the vehicle to get them outside and get them into natural spaces. And Puerto Rico was this kind of return trip we kept doing like 2 or 3 times a year, and we were just really digging it. And we kind of got to this point where we were like, last February we went home and it was 3 degrees. We left here, it was 85 degrees, and we went there and it was 3 degrees. And we were just like, I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to be warm all the time now. And the climbing here is insane. There is so much climbing on the island, that's developed and undeveloped. So we've been also bolting routes, developing areas, and just, staying in palm trees as long as we can.
Obviously in the outdoors, mentorship is a huge thing. Like it's like a good idea. If you're doing something that's potentially risky or life-threatening, it's a good idea to have a mentor. Goes out there. But like particularly when it comes to this, like how important is mentorship inside of the adaptive adventure community?
I think it's huge, because what you have to remember, and what I try to drum home with these individuals that I work with now, is that when we're in the medical community, the thing that they're told and the thing they tell us is, okay, this is what you will not do anymore. So here's what you can do. And that's a pretty short list, but here's what you can't do. And that's a much bigger list. You need that person to step in, like myself or someone else who has gone through the machine and come out on a positive side of it and says, this is okay. Like, I understand you're in a wheelchair. I understand you've lost your leg or your arm, whatever. We can still go rock climbing, and here's how we can do it. And we can do it safely. And I can show you ways to do this, and that you can do this the rest of your life if you want to. And I started adopting this idea that when I teach people now is I tell them, look, I'm here to make you a rock climber. The adaptive piece will fill in on its own. We'll figure that out. But like, I just want you to be a climber. Like, I want you to feel comfortable walking into a gym and climbing. I want you to walk up to a crag. I want you to feel good about being part of our community, because that's what has drawn me in. That's what, like you, and we've done it our whole life. And so it's like, I want them to get that. And so that mentorship, it becomes even more than like mentorship, because it becomes like, this is the path you can follow. You don't have to listen to what you've been told. I can give you this alternate path, this alternate reality, or what can be your new narrative. And And it can be really cool. It can be this amazing quality of life. So that mentorship, I think, is even more powerful now in the adaptive community.
How do we get closer to that moment of recognizing, hey, I may not have control over everything, and there may be some things that are completely bad in my life that are there, but I can do this one thing. How do you see that? How do you get to that stage where you can see where that little tiny ray of light is shining and be like, I'm going in that direction and I'm taking control over this decision, and then maybe that will allow me to take control over the next decision? How do you get there?
That's really interesting because when I'm teaching, when I talk to the veterans and the civilians that I work with, I always tell them, okay, when you're climbing, right? So everything I have to equate to a climbing issue because that's what I know. I tell them, look, when you're climbing, if you look at the whole route, it's overwhelming. It's just like, holy shit, there's stuff everywhere. Like, what am I doing? But you have a 3 foot window that you can influence. And so I want you to focus on that 3 foot window. And so deal with what's in that window because that's what you can have some influence over. Once you're above that 3 foot window, don't worry about what's below it. That's done. It's in the past. That 3 foot window, I think, transfers into your regular life too. It's like, what can you look at just right now and just, a couple hours down the road, a day, whatever, that you have some influence on, and that's what you focus on. The other stuff, you lose your mind if you like.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get overwhelmed, and I feel it with people all the time. They're just like, oh my god, it's this, and it's like, yeah, I get it, but you have no influence there, like none. Like you're not going to change that. So let's focus on what you can change, and then that's it. Don't look at the whole picture. It's like, just focus on that 3 foot window influence you have. In that 3 foot window, it's usually like 2 or 3 moves that they're doing. So it's like 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I have to reset, do it again. And it's that constant resetting that kind of keeps you calm, keeps your breathing getting out of control. It keeps you relaxed, keeps you flowing, and it gets you to the top of the route.
To hear the full episode, subscribe to Diaries Plus. With a subscription, you'll gain access to other exclusive episodes, ad-free content, and more Type 2 fun. Plus, you get to support the future of the show. There's a link in the show notes, or you can head to dirtbagdiaries.com/plus to subscribe. As always, thanks for listening.